If you can't tell by a table that's where the roots are, they're going to say state the consecutive integers between which the roots are located. You don't have to do that. I want you to find the decimal approximations for where the roots are, okay? So again, you can ignore the instructions a little bit. You are just finding the roots of all of these, and I want you to find answers for each one. Some of them will be exact. You can get them from the table. Some of them are going to be decimals that you have to round. But I always want you to come up with the two answers. Okay? So you don't have to follow this instruction. You can ignore that one right there. Okay, something like number 11. What would you do in that case? Okay. Okay. Keep in mind, we want anything of the form ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. Question about this or calculator question? Hang on to it just for a little bit. So when you have a quadratic, do you see that we have a quadratic here? And there's stuff on both sides. You don't solve for the x squared like you would solve for an x. You have to set it equal to 0. So I use the terminology set it equal to 0, which means everything has to go to one side, basically. So when I see this 2 and this x both will have to come to this side. So if I have x squared minus 20 equals 2 plus x, I minus the 2. I can minus the 2 here. I can simplify that. Now when I move the x over, can I simplify the x with the x squared? Are they the same or different? They're different, okay? Remember that. They're different. X squared is a different number than x. So when I minus x, there's nothing to put it with, so it's just x squared minus x minus 22 equals 0. And now you're ready to graph. Okay. Do you want to practice graphing it and getting those again? Okay, let's go for it. Let me answer your question. Well, okay, so you're on the left side of this. No, now you're going to go around here. How big is this graph? Get on the other side. Thank you. No, you're sitting on my window. So a lot of that was yesterday. We practiced the left and right a lot here. Is that right? Okay. Do I really need to zoom out on this one? Do I have to adjust my window? So you can see your zeros. They're right there. Now the tricky part might be your cursor could disappear for a little while. Now, when I go here, I did my second trace and calculate. It's asking for my left bound, but do I see my cursor? No. I mean, it's not on the screen. Don't think, oh, it's not there. It's telling you where it's at right here. So it's at 0 and negative 22, so it's way down here at the vertex. So you can use your left and right arrows. You're at negative 22. You want to go up here. Just wait for it. It's coming up. There it is. Okay, it's on there. It's just not on the screen that you're looking at. So that's where, if you do want to zoom out a little bit, it'd probably be easier to find your cursor, but you don't have to, as long as you can see your roots. So negative 4.22, the first one. Did we type it in correctly? Yeah. If it doesn't cross the x-axis, your answer is no real solution, you're done. And 5.22. Is that okay with that part? There's one other type of question I wanted to go over with you yet, though. Go ahead, Christian.
How would you put this one? Anyone else to put on the assignment?
Well, I want you to show that you solved for 0, and then you just need these points right here. Yep. So they're going to start off, and they're going to give you the graph already. So you can just go with what the graph has. So like if this is number 1, what would you say is the answer here? They're asking you to solve this equation, and they've given you the graph. No real solution. That'd be no real solution. So if you ever see that on your calculator also, you put no real solution, you're done, move on. Okay? If you ever have something that doesn't cross the x-axis, write down no real solution, move on to the next problem. This one would have 2 solutions at, what are the 2 roots here? 5 and negative 2. Yep. 5 and negative 2. This one just has 1, and it's at negative 4. Okay, so you just say x equals negative 4. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. Okay, this question right here, I'm going to make this really easy for you. Use a quadratic equation to find 2 real numbers with a sum of 2 and a product of negative 24. And you got some wide eyes already. Okay, so if you have 2 real numbers that add to something. Okay, let's say I have 2 real numbers that add to 10. If one of them is 2, what's the other one? How do you know that? 8 plus 2 is 10. What's 10 minus 2? 8. So if you know one of the numbers, you have to subtract it from your sum to get the other numbers. Okay? So 2 numbers that add to a third are represented by x and the total minus x. I think we've talked about that before. So 2 numbers that add to a third number is represented by x and the total minus x. Okay, so here's the question that they gave us. 2 numbers whose sum is 2 and product is negative 24. Two numbers whose sum is 2 and the product is negative 24. If the first number is x, how do I represent the second number? Two minus x. So how I'm going to write this is x times 2 minus x, because that's a product, correct? Product is multiplication. So 2 numbers whose sum is 2, the product is equals negative 24. Okay? Now, if I would distribute, you don't have to. If I would distribute, would I have an x squared? Okay? So bring this over, and you have x times 2 minus x plus 24 equals 0. You want to graph and find the zeros of that function. Okay, if you can type it into your calculator just like that, you don't have to do any other math with that. Okay. I'll give you time tomorrow to wrap this up. Okay, is that all right? Okay, so I want this done tomorrow, but you'll have time in class to work on it. If we need all hour, we can, but... Huh? Just on the calculator.